What's up, guys? It's your boy Jim Rat Crypto. Hold on one second. Again, bad radio. I'm here live every single day, 11 a.m. Eastern, guys, with Sam Stolt, co-host, every single day. Crypto in the morning, the most consistent, the most comprehensive, and the most chatted out crypto dudes in the world. And we're going to have the best show in the world for crypto. It's going to be great. Today, we're talking about a couple things. I'm going to show you guys the general news as we go through. You know, I've been liking to show like the, I call it the commie news, but, you know, it's like the midway news where, you know, they're kind of like liberal finance, but it's kind of like the guys that want to like learn crypto, but they're still have a giant sword up their butt from whoever's paying them. And that's not the point. The point is I like to show these to get a little perspective on the market. I also want to talk more about providing liquidity and the absolutely enormous misconceptions that there are in the liquidity providing community. Nonsense. It's been more like it. And I say nonsense because it is nonsense. If you show me Ethereum and Hex and someone providing liquidity, I do thumbs up. Smart guy. Very smart guy. Smart guy. You know, he's making excess money month to month, fiat, really valuable right now, by the way. Dollar's strong comparatively, and dollars are worth a lot right now. And if you can earn crypto while you're sitting on two assets that you have either way, these gains, we're trying to let you guys know this shit because these gains are not, these people are going to start doing this stuff and it's going to start getting automated. And you're going to be like, man, remember that time where you could provide liquidity and earn $500 a week with $5,000 to $10,000? Man, that was a really good time. You'll think like that. And we'll be like, yeah, man, we were right on the edge of that. And then I'll be like, yeah, I was thinking about it, but I never did it because I'm a dumbass. Literally, that's how these conversations go. Sam said like first day on the show, I remember he was like, I'm a dumbass. I didn't look into Bitcoin. When it was when I heard about it the first time. He's like, I was a dumbass for doing that. And I was like, damn, that was cool. Like he said, oh, I'm a dumbass, yeah, I'm a dumbass for not looking into liquidity providing. So I want to continue to do that because I do have liquid funds and I would like to let them work for me while I go sleepy poos. Okay. You want your dollars to work for you. And T-shares have proven to be an amazing investment in the long-term investing strategy of new crypto investors. But there's use cases for different cryptos in different ways. And there's ways to sell out of positions in a safe way, providing liquidity where it doesn't hurt the price and it actually supports the system. I think we need to start thinking clearly about this and making some of the people that are screaming loud about not doing this settle their horses down a little bit because this is crypto, guys. Let's make some gains. Let's get to DeFi proof. Now, I'm actually going to be jumping in the middle of this show. I'm going to do a crypto DeFi proof released a music video, and I'm going to play it in the middle of the show. It's absolutely fire. Fire. This dude comes out with nothing but fire, I swear. And I'm a hip hop fan, so I actually really like the music. Guys, I dropped the tweet below. I'm going to go into the intro song. Please retweet the tweet. Let's get people in here. Biceps in the chat if you enjoyed crypto in the evening last night and you'd like me to come on again. I really had a good time. I know I was getting sleepy around 2.5 hours, guys. That's going to happen. Okay. So everyone, it's a great day. It's Tuesday. I'm excited to be alive. I made mistakes yesterday. I'll make some more mistakes today, but I'll just wake up, keep going, keep punching hard, baby. What can you do?
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking no blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. I'm already tuned in. Got me some hex and I'm making a state. Got me some hedron, I'm making it rain. Gave me some maxi and that's just in case. Jim Reddit sent me to show you the way. Crypto in the morning. 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 Crypto in the morning.
Whoops.
Whoops, what's good, bro? How you doing? Looking
Good.
forward to this. I like the new setup over there with the background and everything. And
I switched up the angle a little bit.
yeah, no, I like this. I like this angle a little bit better. I'm looking forward to the show today. I love liquidity providing, dude. We were talking about this. These gains in liquidity providing is
Tell
awesome.
people what you've experienced, the gains and the mistakes in a short way in like 2 or 3 minutes. What's your experience been since you started providing liquidity between Ethereum and Hex?
So when I first started, 4 or 5, it was like 2 months after we started doing the show, and I started with $200. But for $200, because you gotta learn, you gotta understand how it works, right? So I set it up with $200, and at $200, it doesn't make sense to do it because it's still profitable, and you could build off of that for sure. It's just the fees will eat into the profit on $200. If you make 10% in a month on $200, you make $20, right? So if you make $20 and then you have fees involved, then that's $20 eats into your profit, right? So to make an adjustment, you think of this. So you're like, okay, I want to take my $20, but I also want to add $200 in say month number 2. So to take your $20, depending on network load, might cost $2, might cost $5, might cost $60, depending on network load. So say if it was $5, then you're left with 15, you add in your 200, right? Then it can start to make sense, but you still have to potentially make adjustments in terms of like, say you earn most of those fees in Hex or most of those fees in Ethereum. You got to do a swap, which also costs money so that you can get that split to add it back into the pool. But as you add more value to your pool or your position, like I'm earning multiple hundreds per day. And it's not like Hex where
You just started.
Oh yeah,
You just knew. He just had $10,000 he was willing to use.
I've added more. I wrote down some of the numbers we can get into.
And that's the position that he's in this life, guys. It's just, it doesn't matter what position he's in. That's the position he's in. It just doesn't matter. $10,000 to some people could mean the end of their life, or it could mean absolutely nothing. So this whole variable thing where like people are like, oh God, like this is sketchy for like 1% of people. So let's make sure we warn everyone not to put a gun in their mouth and shoot it. It's like, guys, come on. It's not instant. And I agree with this. LP is not instant death. It can be if you're in and out all the time. Exactly. Like if you are just neurotic in general, if you're a neurotic person and you can't handle these kind of moving money around, making these clicks, not being able to sit for a week, I don't agree that anything's going to happen other than you're going to be paying fees, and it's a bad habit. But if you don't know what you're doing, but that's the whole thing. We're trying to tell people what to do. It's like when you stake Hex, yes, you could press end stake the day after you stake it. How many people have done that? Sam might not even have thought about this yet. Sam doesn't know this because he doesn't look at the whale bot as much as I do, I'm sure. But how many people end stake the day after because they have not a fucking clue, what they just did with their funds? I did it. I staked 5,000 Hex. The first stake I ever did, 5555. I said, oh, I hope I didn't make a mistake. Let me end this real quick. Because I had no fucking clue what I was doing. And I lost like $700, $500, whatever it was at the time. It's the same for everything. You guys just know about Hex, so you just think it's safe in your head. But really what it is, it's a learning curve. And we want the learning curve to be easier. An easier learning curve, because with the realist information, and the realist information is this is all new. Nobody knows what they're fucking doing.
Yeah, and correct. And that is a perfect way of putting this, because I've told this story before, but I found Tesla back in 2010-ish, right? I wrote my first article for Seeking Alpha back in 2013. You can go find it, Panasonic and Alpha.
Oh, wow.
Or Tesla. And then I also, my first YouTube video.
Seeking Alpha, that's a big channel. I've heard of that.
Yep.
You were writing for that?
Yep.
Really?
Uh-huh.
That's awesome.
And I was trying to figure out how to make money online back then too. But just on the side while I was doing other shit. And then I had my first YouTube video in 2014. But the point of this is that I saw the opportunity with Tesla and I didn't put money in till 2018. Still made an awesome return in 2018. But the point is, I would be multimillionaire today if I understood what the F I was doing. I saw this. I saw the opportunity with TikTok, right? I have social media and I'm putting out content on all of them. And TikTok, at one point, I'm getting 1,000 followers a day, 1,000 followers a day. And I was like, shit, this is not going to last. Let me do 10 TikToks a day on 2 separate accounts, because I know when you see the opportunity, you need to take advantage of this. Now, that is in regards to missing the opportunity with Tesla primarily, and missing the opportunity. Well, the other one's related to social, gaining attention, right? Which then translates to money, because money follows attention. But then when you see this with liquidity providing, this is a tremendous opportunity that is not going to last. I'm going balls deep.
Well, it'll transform too, because there'll be another DEXs, learning curves. But again,
fees are going to come down.
There's
People
guys that
are
are laughing in the chat right now, drinking their coffees, chuckling back. A few of them, a few of you rich cats in there. And they're saying, oh, we made so much money on Pancake Swap. How much money did you dirty bastards make on Pancake Swap? I swear to God, because that's right when I was getting into crypto, when people were getting rich off that, and I didn't know what it was yet, but I knew, I saw what people were doing because I was in the paid course, or I was interacting back then. So it's very interesting. But I'm going to do a transition real quick. I think we got our point across. I think that was a good point, and I want to move on, and I do want to talk about more in depth about that for the people that don't actually know what's going on and that do have funds that they might want to move around. Again, this is not financial advice. This is just suggestions from 2 random gym rats. So don't take any of this as financial advice. I am not a financial advisor.
I'd have to take advice from somebody kissing their biceps on the internet. Like,
I'd have to be working to be a financial advisor, and I don't and I don't work. So I just do what I want. So everybody, I'm going to play quickly just to get the vibes absolutely cranked. DeFi proof. I mean, let's just pop this up with the music video, guys. And then we're going to go straight into the news, a 2-minute news segment where me and Sam are just going to cover what they've mentioned. It's about Ethereum mining, something I'm very interested in. Not that I ever want to mine Ethereum, but I want to know what's going on. So the value props and shit. Okay, got to go. Let's watch this.
you turn the volume up a little?
And I'm balling into ya. Farming with my staples in the decks. I'm holding IRA and it reflects. I'm sticking all this shit on Everest. And I'm balling into ya. Farming with my staples in the decks. I'm holding IRA and it reflects. I'm sticking all this shit on Everest. You see, the problem was these epochs. Now I'm printing daily, man, who need that? I check my APR on BFAT. And the regulation printing big stacks. I simple swapped it for some BNB. Took my shares and I made a big. Treasury on $1 million. Now we printing all these digits. And I'm balling ETF. Farming with my stables in the decks. I'm holding IRA and it reflects. I'm sticking all this shit on Everest. And I'm balling ETF. Farming with my stables in the decks. I'm holding IRA and it reflects. I'm sticking all this shit on Everest. Let's go.
Dope. That's a cool video that he did there. I've always thought about doing a music video. What do you think?
What do you think? Think about? We're doing a music video. We're gonna be in a music video. Hold on, I gotta find the tab that's up.
Cool. There you go. You can pull up that tab. Next, we're going to get into some of the common news or just the latest stuff that's going on with Ethereum, right? We've seen a 70% increase in the price of Ethereum as people are getting more excited about the merge, right? It's not going to do much, in my opinion, at least at the initial part.
It's not going to do what people think it's not going to do what noobs think it's going to do.
And I was just reading about this yesterday. It's going to be 6 months after the merge before it's like kind of official. Like, I don't fully understand how it works, but the merge
it's been 6 years after initial writing on the white paper that they're coming out with the potentially news next fall that they're going to be staking this stuff and nobody knows what it's going to do to the price action. And it's all fucking malarkey, just talk. I cannot see anything. I don't see anything.
We'll get into it in a minute, but it might actually switch the position LP to USD as it gets closer to September 19th.
You think there might have been a little buy the news on that? Wow.
I do.
Wow.
I think so.
Good call. I was just literally kind of playing with that in my head. I'm like, we are a little pumped out 6-1, is there a little premium there? I think so. Is the USD going to be a little safer on the downside end of this? I think so. But guys, this is all conjecture. Again, we're going to be as honest as we can with you. I am not going to bow down to any narrative that I don't actually believe. I could give a rat's shit if I never did this channel again. I can't go to sleep at night like that. This is what I see. This is what I look at. This is what I observe. And I've been pretty successful in my life observing trends and looking at things. And this feels no different. Feels no different. Feels just like an amazing opportunity that's staring me in the face with all the information I need right in front of me. And that's all I ask.
So let's play this a little bit. And can you turn the volume up just a little bit when you play this?
Yes, sir. And we will play this right this now.
He joins us now with a look at what cryptocurrency could be stealing, the Bitcoin spotlight and why. Hey, Kate.
Hey, Carl. Yeah, we usually focus on Bitcoin, but the world's second largest cryptocurrency had an even bigger month. Ethereum, or Ether, was up almost 70% for July versus about a 30% jump in Bitcoin. A lot of the smaller cryptocurrencies also got a bit as well. They're still down for the year and well off of those November high. The July bounce has been partially macro-related. Cryptocurrencies are still tracking tech stocks for the most part and really have been sensitive to things like rate hikes and inflation data. But the optimism around Ethereum is specific to that network. Ether is the cryptocurrency tied to the Ethereum network. Developers tend to use that blockchain network to build things like NFTs, for example. And it's in the process of what you can think of as pretty much a software upgrade. The whole thing and the way the whole thing is run, or validated as they call it, is going to change. And the way new crypto is created will become a little bit more energy efficient and therefore more environmentally friendly. The carbon footprint for crypto really has been a knock against cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin in particular. The date for what people are calling the merge is now on track for September 19th, but that date had been pushed back multiple times, so there is still a little bit of skepticism. Either way, crypto investors are pouring into this trade ahead of that date. One big sign, the number of addresses, or essentially people who hold Ethereum, jumped to a 15-month high in July. There's also been a jump in spot volume on exchanges. And then you can also see some of the bullishness playing out in the derivatives markets. This chart here from Glassnode and Fundstrat shows what Fundstrat called a parabolic increase in the open interest for Ethereum futures. It's getting close to that high back in November, and this is across all global crypto exchanges. The majority of those are call options, or the option to buy. The September and December expiration dates are especially popular, with crypto investors hoping for some sort of sustained rebound in Ethereum after a pretty tough year for that cryptocurrency. Sarah.
This is interesting. I don't fully, you're muted. I don't fully understand the difference between proof of work and proof of stake and delegated proof of stake.
Real quick, before you bring that up, that's what we'll talk about right after. I want to bring up what you said right before the show. He was thinking about switching his position. What do I look at these channels for? To know what the dumb fucks are listening to. Okay? They're listening to that girl just said, I have hope for a rally they think that Ethereum's had a rough year. I think Ethereum's done amazing because I live in reality and I know what's going on. Ethereum has outperformed Bitcoin 6-1 over this bear market, and it may be due for more than 6-1, actually, way more than 6-1. I'm sorry, but we might be due for some sideways backwards action for the ratios of the two, in my opinion, and that can sometimes be derived directly from the news, because when they start talking about shit, it's usually just about time.
When it starts going everywhere. So my thought process, and then I have an article we can actually take a look at. It goes into the talking about proof of stake versus delegated proof of stake, and like what's the difference between proof of stake and delegated proof of stake.
And I want to dumb it down too, like even a step further for the people that even that sentence confused them. We'll take a step back, but I want to read that whole article. That'd be great.
Perfect. Okay. When you think about what's going on with Ethereum, right? We've seen a 70% increase from 40 days ago. It went down to like $900, and now we're at 1,600 or 1,700 or 1,500 or something like that. So we've had a giant uptick in the price in about 45 days. I have the belief that the price is going to go down or retract, as GRC was saying, or go sideways, or both of those things. I think it's going to go down personally. When is it going to go down? I have no idea. But
I love that they think this is really bad. I love that they think this is real. Like, oh, Ethereum's done horrible. $2,600 Ethereum. Imagine calling that horrible. They don't understand.
Think about this too. This is gonna give like the preview for Ethereum price or market cap being greater than Bitcoin in the next bull run. I wouldn't be surprised if Ethereum.
100%, undeniable. No way, no. You heard it here first. I agree with that sentiment 100%. So I'll stand by it. Ethereum will have a higher market cap than Bitcoin in the next market cycle if they do it fairly. And if they did it fairly now, market cap is a number that is circulating supply. Is Satoshi's coins, are they circulating supply if they've never moved? They're counted as it. That's 40%.
So how do if I have that belief, right, that Ethereum's going to go down and I'm providing liquidity, how could I position that to be congruent, or kind of like how could I position it so that what I think is aligned with the actions that I'm taking in the marketplace? Well,
USDC, baby.
Bingo. I can switch the LP from the ETH providing that to selling ETH out and switching to USDC and provide liquidity with USDC.
Less downside risk.
Then you don't have to have the right, because if you believe Ethereum is going to go down, then you could switch out of Ethereum, and they've the lead developer or one of the developers for the Ethereum blockchain said that September 19th. So still have a month and a half before this is going to take place. So we'll probably sit tight for about a month and a half as we move closer to this, as the excitement builds, as people push the prices up. I'll take advantage of that. But before September 19th, I will get out of that position more than likely and switch it over to USDC. Once we see a sell-off, then I will switch it back over.
Notice I never pull up charts. I don't pull up charts because to me, they're irrelevant. I don't care what the fucking chart looks like. I could watch 3 news articles, check out the major media, look at the inflation numbers, and look at the energy numbers, and make a decision from there if I really wanted to get into it. Otherwise, I could just go to the fucking gym and see what those dorks are talking about and do the opposite. It's not complicated. It's just a value prop. There's a sentiment. There's an average person, and then there's a person that pays attention more. And you have to understand that you are the person that pays attention more if you do. Sometimes that can be not clear to some. For me, for a while, I had a lot of the right information, but I didn't have the confidence in myself to know that the information was legit. And now I do. So it's changing really fast, but it takes time in the market mentally. You have to be in the market mentally. Like, you have to pay attention. So I would love to read this. This is going to be incredible.
This is from Gemini.com.
I need to learn this.
Me too. I was like, this is perfect because we want to learn and we want to help. Hopefully, anybody who cares to spend any of their time with us to hopefully help them learn as well.
So for reference, guys, delegated proof of stake is what Ethereum is going to use, right, Sam? So
I believe so. Yeah.
yeah, so
they're all going to have similar to Pulse.
Mhm.
Okay. So yes, delegated proof of stake. But what is proof of stake versus delegated proof of stake? I'm not sure.
So proof of stake versus delegated proof of stake are algorithms that drive blockchains to reach consensus effectively and democratically. Okay, so it's a democratic tool. Summary: proof of stake consensus algorithms make blockchain networks more efficient by eliminating the energy-intensive computational mining process inherent in proof of work. They're saying they're taking the computers out of the mining process. Proof of stake algorithms incentivize users to confirm network data and ensure security through a process of collateral staking. An inert iteration of the concept known as delegated proof of stake works similarly, but features a voting and delegation mechanism that makes the process more democratic. Proof of stake algorithms power some of the most innovative and popular blockchains today and may become the dominant consensus mechanism blockchain moving forward. So that's very
interesting stuff. I think that, I mean, delegated proof of stake is more centralized than proof of work
100%.
on blockchain, in my opinion,
100%.
because if you have 32 people who have control over the delegation, or and instead of having hundreds of miners,
all I had to say was voting. When I hear voting in the world,
but this is what Pulse is going to be, bro.
No, I know that. I just think this is a little bit more Wild Westy over as far as like the VCs that are in Ethereum right now and how big it is. Like, I think this could be trouble because I feel like the power structure might already be there. If you know what I mean, like the people with the money might already be the people everyone knows. And in our system, it's probably still like, nobody's even seen their funds. So they haven't looked into it. They haven't, so again, I think it's important to realize like a manipulated system 10 years later that decides to turn this on might have a lot of a different effect than someone that was thinking about doing this from the very beginning. We're beating them to market with their own product in a better environment, in my opinion. Because I just think the people in there, like 32 East, a lot of fucking money. A central facet of any blockchain is its consensus mechanism, which refers to how all the stakeholders in a decentralized network agree on the validity of shared data. Typically some kind of transactions, but not always, and secure that data on the blockchain. Consensus must be achieved. I've lost my spot. Must be achieved before a blockchain network can move on and process new transactions. Proof of stake is an algorithm employed by cryptocurrency protocols to reach consensus. In proof of stake blockchains, an individual or group is algorithmically chosen to verify transactions with computer hardware based on the tokens they have staked or locked up in the network as form of collateral. To understand the process efficiency that is achieved from proof of stake algorithms, you must first understand proof of work, the original blockchain consensus algorithm. Proof of work algorithms demand work from computers around the world that comprise decentralized networks. So basically, guys, for the people that are brand new, you need a computer to run the shit. You need to use electricity. In the case of Bitcoin, this work is the computer processing power that solves a computational puzzle. And the computers that carry out this process are called miners. When miners solve the computational puzzle, their block of data is deemed valid and added to all copies of the blockchain, thus achieving consensus. As a reward for their efforts, miners are granted a block reward in the form of Bitcoin and then turn their attention to the next block of data. While this method is energy intensive, it has proven very successful in assuring the security and stability of various blockchain networks.
This is so the proof of stake is the same. Yes, the the semantics of computational like problem that is solved, or puzzle is the word that they were using to solve to get to the next block, to, you know, basically win that block and say that you did it and then get paid for it. But that's kind of the same exact thing, but instead of hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of or tens of thousands of miners doing this, you have 32 or some small number who are still doing the same thing. They have a computer that is processing transactions. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's still, there's still a computer doing the work, processing the transactions. It's just now people are the mechanism at which people, instead
It's
of solving,
more efficient, I guess. It's
yeah,
just
but it seems like it's adding risk too.
Yeah.
I agree. It's more
Well,
efficient.
no, I think it's fair that it could be adding risk, but the way that they're doing it is like different. You know, they're starting like they've already started, and then they're like merging it back. So like I feel like that has to be explained more. But we'll let's just keep reading and see if we can uncover some of these problems. History of proof of stake. The concept of proof of stake was first theorized on the Bitcoin Talk forum in July 2011 as a way to make the process of verifying blocks more efficient than employing proof of work consensus algorithms. Instead of thousands of computers competing and expending energy to confirm network data, as is the case for the proof of work, data verification is assigned to network nodes that have staked or locked their tokens as collateral in proof of stake. The concept has been iterated upon by the global blockchain developer community and is widely considered to be the successor to proof of work as decentralized technology grows. The Ethereum network is working towards replacing its proof of work mechanism with proof of stake. It is Ethereum 2.0 update, which is expected to launch in 2021. Tezos, Cosmos, Cardano, EOS, Algorand, and Synthetic Network are just a few of the blockchains that currently utilize versions of proof of stake. No energy intensive mining is required on proof of stake networks. Instead, proof of stake mechanisms randomly choose a validator to validate blocks of data where the cost of an intended malicious error is greater than the block reward. POS algorithm uses several methods to select who will validate the next block. So I guess that's the point right there, Sam. We were kind of thinking like there is a value prop for the malicious activity that they're kind of trying to, that the 32 ETH probably makes it not worth it anymore. So it's just going to inherit, because like hacking, just like anything, it's just a value prop. How much work you're going to put in to get some hacking, but you might go to jail in the middle. That's the only switch up. The size of the stake, the more tokens staked, the higher the chance of being chosen to validate. The age of the token staked, the longer the tokens have been upspent, the higher the chance of being chosen to validate. Once that stake is used to verify a block, its age is reset to 0, random selection, the lowest hash value, the string of numbers created by a hashing algorithm to represent data, combined with the largest stake is chosen to validate the next block.
Interesting. So this is the size of the stake, the age of the tokens that are staked, and then they're randomly selected. So this is kind of interesting to learn about this stuff. It just mentally, it still seems just, you know, it's adding risk in my mind, right? Because I would rather have thousands of people doing the verification or tens of thousands of people doing verification versus,
yeah, maybe to us, but maybe to them it feels better because they know who the people are. Like, you know,
yeah.
like for us, it's like I know David Feeder is going to be the biggest pulse. You know, like I know,
But you know those people who have lots of money, but they still do stupid ass shit just to fuck with people, even though it hurts them financially.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But what's the paid incentive to be a validator? That's like I guess that's the question, right? Is there?
But there's people who are at a level where controlling or having, we've talked about it many times, where having power or control or impact on other people is far more important to them than the next dollar. And there are people who will impact their own bags negatively because it shows that they have power and control because they have bags elsewhere that are far greater or whatever the case is, that are perfectly fine or safe. I don't know. having 30 people fucking be in charge of all of it just doesn't seem super appealing mentally for me. But
Hey, we'll see how the future goes. It's interesting. This is all very new, guys. Hey, if you're in here, go over to that tweet and hit the retweet button for me. If you have not hit the like and the subscribe and the bell button, please do all of that stuff below, guys. It really does help. I'm going to get back to reading this.
Yeah, so hypothetically, as we transition back into reading this, I feel like the perfect or the ideal proof of stake would have like the individuals, like everybody involved in the network benefiting from doing this instead of,
I feel like they might have came with the problem that they didn't do this off launch. And then,
maybe it's something like running a node, right? Like you run a node and then, yes, there's a little bit of cost involved to run a node, but by running the node, you're able to be a validator in some way, shape, or form. Or maybe it's a different consensus mechanism, right? Like Solana runs on a different consensus mechanism, right? Where it's proof of time, I think it is. Chia runs on a different consensus.
How many validators are there on the ETH proof of stake?
I don't know. There's not going to be. I think you just need 32, right?
Yeah, I don't know how many people that would be. I guess because I guess at the top that was like 100 grand. So how many is there? Like a list of people that have over a certain amount? I guess you could just look up at the Ether scan.
Or I could just get 32 ETH and then start being a validator.
Well, yeah, for sure. But I mean, I wouldn't want to do that shit. That sounds horrible. Why the fuck? So I'm just trying to think in my head. I'm not there yet, guys. So I mean, you only know what you fucking know. You know, like you got to learn this shit. There's 33 validators.
Right. To me, that just doesn't seems to very, very concentrated, or something that doesn't.
I'm confused. Whatever. I'm gonna keep reading. Anyone who has 32 ETH can be a validator on ETH. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's how I thought about it. But I just
what?
We're not. Well, what do you mean? We're learning. We're reading. We're not. I don't know what. There's a lot wrong with what you're saying. How many mining pools control 51% of the hash? Way less than 20.
Okay, I have no idea.
I don't know what you're. We don't know as much as you do on these. So you're gonna have to start your own show. I'm new. I'm trying to learn the difference between this stuff. But if you tell me anything very descriptive, I'd love to read it. Okay, I'm gonna keep reading. Incentives and decentives. I didn't know you could write decentives like that.
Yeah, me either.
That's a weird ass word. As a way to keep validators from acting maliciously or adding fraudulent transactions into the block, the total value of the token stake needs to exceed the transaction fees earned. If fraudulent activity is detected, the validator loses their stake and will not be allowed to participate in the validation process in the future. This is why larger stakes are favored. Since the validator stands to lose more from acting maliciously, this system helps create trust between the respective parties. Proof of stake is particularly notable because it doesn't require the hardware energy consumption required by proof of work networks. On proof of stake networks, there is significantly less computation required. Further, proof of stake eliminates the barrier to entry of expensive computer hardware, which I totally agree with. I don't know many people that would buy.
But what does it replace it with? At least on Ethereum.
32
$50,000 if you want.
Yeah. So it's similar. It's similar, but I would say it's easier to get your hands on 32 ETH than go through the bullshit of like learning computer stuff. But it's similar, to say the least. Like those two things seem like a giant wall that I'm not even going to go on the first step of. So I don't. Like, why would I even think about doing that when I could just buy the asset? But again, this is just me. This is where I'm at. This is what I've learned so far. I don't have $1 million in crypto, so theoretically, proof of stake always allows more users to participate in the creation of new blocks. It always allows?
Well, theoretically, POS also allows more.
Also allows. I thought it says always allows. My bad. One criticism of proof of stake methodology is that its design favors the wealthy, those who hold the most cryptocurrency, since it chooses validators with most tokens staked. To combat this discrepancy, other methods for validator selection and iterations on the concept of staking have been developed. The most notable is delegated proof of stake. Delegated proof of stake is a popular evolution of the proof of stake concept, whereby users of the network vote and elect delegates to validate the next block. Delegates are also called witnesses or block producers. Sam, can you read? I need to get water.
Yeah.
My mouth.
Using DPoS, which is the delegated proof of stake, you can vote on delegates by pooling your tokens into a staking pool and linking those to a particular delegate. So this is what Pulse is going to be doing.
Oh, so what Wendy's was saying, now that makes more sense to me.
Go ahead.
He was saying like, you know, well, I'll just read his comment. In saying Sam's argument on a few validators being centralized is ridiculous because the same or worse exists in proof of work. Yes, I guess that part is
there's way more than 32 fucking people mining, bro.
But I think that's how many people have 32 ETH.
For what do you mean?
Like to be a validator.
Oh, are we talking about Pulse or Ethereum? Yeah, it depends.
Oh yeah, I guess they're now. Are you talking about Pulse or Ethereum here? Because I don't think Sam was mentioning either one in particular. I think we were just talking in general. Again, all this stuff is very nuanced to me, and we would love if you guys would come on tomorrow and talk about all this stuff. That would be fantastic. Because reading the chat and thinking and reading at the same time, not my specialty. I'm getting used to it, but I when I switch over, my brain goes.
It's hard to do both of them.
But yeah, no, I totally. In Bitcoin's case, it's even worse because of the ASIC miners. There's only three companies that manufacture hardware. Oh yeah, on that point though, I do always bring this shit up with the hardware. People act like you don't have to buy new fucking hardware and it costs a fortune. And like they can do that shit and manipulate it any way they want. That has to be done with. That has to be over. Like that whole hardware manipulation shit. I've heard it the whole time I've been in crypto, and it makes perfect sense to me. If I had to buy fucking expensive ass hardware to break even and then go back and buy expensive ass hardware again, I'd rather be dead because that sounds horrible. And and on the 85% dip, you're going to get wrecked, right?
But you know who Intel is, right? You probably heard of Intel, right? That chip that's in your computer. Well, Intel actually announced a couple of months ago that they're coming out with their own mining chip, right? So it's not just going to be two or three players who are making those in the future. Other players are going to get involved as Intel mentioned, like they are going to be releasing their standalone, mining shit that's going to work with proof of work. I don't know. It's interesting. This is
I totally like my take on it because I was forgetting that piece of it again. I always was just reading. So, but that hardware piece, it's like the fucking hardware shit. Like how many ass backwards ways can that be manipulated? And now we have to go to a manufacturer to keep our Bitcoin going of three companies. I mean, it's not good. So, I mean, this definitely is a more freeing process if I think about it like that. Like, definitely. I just think being binded by physical hardware is stressful.
But so if you're running a validator, you still need to update your shit, right? You're still going to have to do it. It's just the delegate, the person who is going to be running the validator, or like if I had 32 ETH and I was decided I wanted to do that, then periodically I'm going to have to update my shit as well. And there's a ongoing variable cost to doing that as well, like electricity and monitoring and or upkeep of being that delegator. And the same thing with the delegated proof of stake.
Yeah, but do they have to buy a bunch of fucking hardware?
Yeah,
they do. I got to look at the hardware costs and then.
Correct. I have no idea the cost of it, but
yeah, see, it's always going to come back. But I can only imagine if there's only three companies doing the hardware that it's going to be a fucking shit show, and they're going to give I don't know how all that shit works. Again, that's kind of how you have to keep learning though, guys. It's a rabbit hole, but you have to be willing to go down the rabbit hole. You can't hold back like this. You got to get into all the information. It does take time. It doesn't happen overnight. That's why we're doing it here together, guys. So I'm going to keep reading.
Up there at the top on the right.
You do not physically transfer your tokens to another wallet, but instead utilize a staking service provider to stake your tokens in a staking pool. A limited number of delegates, most protocols choose between 20 and 100, are chosen for each block. So the delegates of one block might not be the delegates of the next. Elected delegates receive the transaction fees from the validated blocks, and that reward is then shared with users who pooled their tokens in a successful delegate pool. The more you stake, the higher a share of the block reward you receive. The rewards are shared based on each user's stake. So if your stake represents 5% of your total staking balance, you would receive 5% of the block rewards. The first iteration of the delegated proof of stake was developed in 2014 by former EOS Chief Technology Officer Dan Larimer. Larimer first implemented the consensus algorithm on decentralized crypto exchange platform BitShares in 2015. Today, a number of blockchains, including Cardano, EOS, and Tron, use delegated proof of stake. According to its proponents, delegated proof of stake is a more democratic way of choosing who verifies the next block, allowing a more diverse group of people to participate in the process since it's based on earned reputation as lawful stakers and not overall wealth. Additionally, because there are limited numbers of validators, delegated proof of stake allows the network to reach consensus more quickly. Testing and experimentation continue in proof of stake algorithms, including delegated proof of stake. This concept has shown immense promise for increasing the efficiency, transaction speed, and throughput of blockchain protocols, which is necessary for more enterprise uses as the industry grows and looks to disrupt more complex and larger markets. The switch from proof of work to proof of stake based on consensus mechanisms is a watershed development for a blockchain technology, and its iteration of proof of stake will likely become the dominant form of consensus in the future.
Yes, and that wraps up that article. But that's interesting, right? Very, very interesting. The difference between those two, and I'm looking forward to continue. I'm looking forward to continue learning more about those. You want to read Wendy's comment there?
Proof of stake means your coins are at stake. They can be slashed, which is why it is less incentive to attack versus something like proof of work, where you can just rent people's hardware. True. So it seems like there's just a finite. Then they mentioned that in the article at some point that they made it to a point where the financial incentive to attack the system is less than it would be to do the effort. So I think it's an interesting point. I think we learned a lot today. This has been an amazing episode. Guys, I'm learning this stuff. I'm learning at a really fast pace, but again, I can only learn so fast. Like, I'm trying to be open-minded. It's not easy when there's a lot of conjecture, but I promise you I'm doing my best to be honest the whole entire time. I don't think that proof of work is going to work out. Long term, I think Bitcoin's going to work out as a crypto, like it's going to exist. But you see the innovators moving, the Charles Hoskinsons, all the other guys, they're starting there, and they're much smarter than me, and they must know that it's more efficient in many ways. And I'm starting to understand it. I'm starting to understand it more, and I think it's really fun to learn. But just like every nuanced process, there's a lot of people making a lot of money on it. Remember that. And there is going to be alpha, and there is going to be guys that are playing the system. But that's just an open market. That's just a fair market.
This point is what I don't agree with. Because
the reason that there is no incentive on Pulse is because the top holders attacking your own bags makes no sense for a single transaction.
But it does, as we talked about earlier. Because if you look at real life, it actually happens, right? Because just because I have a bunch of money in this one thing doesn't mean that money is going to be the only incentive. Impacting other people, controlling other people at a certain point, those two things are more important than additional money.
Ask all the Bitcoin guys. Ask all of them. What do they? They don't care about the extra money anymore. Did
Elon Musk need to sell 11 or 20 billion or whatever it was to pay his taxes? No, he did not. That hurt his own bag. Like, if you look at real world data.
So how does this work? How does this work in your mind? Like, how can some of the negative effects of this be? Now, I can't get away from it because there's all these guys with these amazing projects that are doing it this way. So it's making me feel like it's clearly a more effective way, at least if it works out perfectly. Like, but again, there's social consensus here. There is a difference between the top 5 holders in Bitcoin and the top 5 holders in Hex, and it's just there's just different people. So it's hard to say exactly. There are going to be attacks on the network, but I think it's just more like the incentive structure to attack the network might not be as strong.
Yeah, I don't know if this will be the thing in the end that wins. Like when you guys know what 4G is, right? Or 5G, right? Or the 3G, right? The iterative respect to wireless technology. Well, when you go from 3G to 4G, and then you go from 4G to 5G, it's gotten better in terms of how this works. But everybody's on 3G, and then you have different factions of people that are all saying this is the 4G network, this is the 4G network, no, this is the 4G network, right? From 3G to 4G. And then you have the same thing happening from 4 to 5G. And in that process, there is a consensus built in the industry around the technology for wireless phones and whatnot that builds as time goes on, as you see which ones are more successful, which ones are more reliable, which ones impact the network or the cost as well in the network. And we're watching it play out in real time in crypto. So do I believe that the delegated proof of stake is going to be the future? No, not necessarily, right? We have plenty of other consensus networks that are out there that appear to be successful.
I think it's fair to say that they could come out with a better one. Like there's definitely room on the upside, I think. And I'm not, and it kind of plays with the fact that there might not be that many guys that really give a fuck, because there is an element of this that like takes time, and you got to get your bag while you got to get your bag. You know what I mean? Like this is the tech right now. Pulse chain's coming out. Doesn't mean that the tech's not going to advance. As you saw in 2015, this dude came out with this, and we're talking about it right now. So you think that dude was going to be having this conversation? No, he did not know any of this shit. He was probably trying to scam everyone, and then everyone's like, "Hey, that was a decent idea. Let's use it." So I think it's just a lot of nuance there, and there's a lot of gray area, and I think people need to understand that there is that unknown area, and you have to be open to it. Like you have to be willing to, because the future will be different than you think it will be. Period. End of story. It might be on the upside or the downside or a different asset or whatever. You might get struck by fucking lightning. So just remember, guys, there's variable here. Once you feel like you understand something 100%, just dig deeper. And that's why I just dig deeper all the time. I don't know shit, like until I have a fuck ton of money and I can tell everyone like I'm done smarter than everyone, I'm just going to chill and learn and try to provide the best value I can. And I will be coming on later today, guys. Who do you want on? Throw some people in the chat you'd like on. Sam, I'll let you have your closing words before we go. It's been a good show.
This would be interesting to hear what the incentives are going to be, right? Because there's a transaction fee, and then we'll wrap things up here. There's a transaction fee for Pulse, right? In regards to Pulse, which is talking about with Feeder here, where every fee, 25% of that is going to be burnt, right? So the remaining portion, I believe all of it, I don't know, please correct me if I'm incorrect or missing something here. The other 75% of the fee is going to be going towards the validator, and then the validator is picking how to distribute that to the people who stake with them. So this might be, I don't know. This is going to be interesting. I'd like to talk to Feeder and see what's up with that, or if somebody knows.
We should get Feeder and Wendy's, or Feeder and Motley. If either of them are available, or Wendy's to come on for an episode would be great. Motley, I know you guys have been fucking going at it, and me too. So, I mean, we've just been busy. But it's great to see we're fighting the good fight. Everybody have a great day. Crypto in the Morning live every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern. If you're not following me on everything, you're going to be like, man, I wish I was following GRC before he hit 1 million subs. That'd be great, guys. Everyone have an amazing day. Buy your Hex, provide liquidity, buy safe assets, be smart, don't over leverage yourself, be an actively aware and focused human being when you're doing things. Don't blame shit on other people like fucking jokesters.
Young folks, you tripping on them motherfucker.
With your heart. With your heart.
Bought my hex from the fucking start. .1 every day we mark. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hairy start. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hairy start. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Checking my MetaMask moving. Look at the hex, he is mooning. Looking at wives they be choosing. Peter is why they be losing. Pull chains out and they'll get me a check. He's gas up and it got me a mess. Remember the times he died collect. Hex I been eating, I'm dying in the best. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hairy start. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hairy start. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Richard Hart. Richard Hart.